Hello, and thanks for joining us for yet another episode on Enterprise Friday on Enterprise Television. I'm Choma Koher.
And I am Henry Igbibike.
We'll quickly head into the newspaper segment now. Before we do that, we have to actually give kudos to whom it's due, and we have with us in the studio to do justice to this topics we have in the studio with us. Mr. Peter Shudende. Good morning, Mr. Peters.
Yeah, good morning, Choma.
Thank you so very much, sir.
Thanks for
having me.
We do
appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, so just before we get to that, we would appreciate that you visit us. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com, and also you may like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. All right, so let's kickstart our day today with the first daily we have on our desk, and that's starting from where?
The Daily Trust newspaper on the top strip. On the flood issue, federal government urges Benue, Niger riverine communities to relocate.
And also we have NIMC boss gets accolades for improved staff welfare.
Okay, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Reps Speaker assures media trust of partnership on Parliament.
And also, yeah, beautiful. So, and also the big story here, we have security agents supplying arms to terrorist bandits, and that's coming from the NSA and Nuhuri Badu. And we have two writers here. It says weapons used by criminals belong to federal government. Expert warns culprits arrested and prosecuted. 2,400 obsolete, unserviceable, illicit ammunition destroyed. Mr. Peters, this is so worrisome. If you take a look at the image here, we have a cache of weapons, that had been used before now and would be used. I know not all of them are there, but won't you speak to this?
Rather very unfortunate news from the National Security Advisor. In fact, that he is holding up that those weapons belong to the federal government and they were seized from terrorists, sent a very wrong signal that everybody is not safe. This is not the first time we'll be hearing about security agencies sometimes behaving like terrorists, actually giving their weapons out for a fee. We have seen that with the police, we have seen that with the army and some other agencies. But you see, for like a serviceman, your rifle is your life. There's just a very thin line between your life and your rifle. They will tell you, whatever happens to you, that rifle, you must bring it back. So you see most times that if anything happens to military people, once they kill them in action, others will move in there to at least see if they can rescue the bodies and the rifle. If they don't see those things, they now go after those guys who had done the killing. So that incident and that information has shown the type of military we've had in the last 10-15 years of this country when all those insurgents started. That means we have been living with enemies, thinking that we have people actually securing us. And I could remember twice the Nigerian government has borrowed $1 billion each from foreign institutions for weapons to combat activities of terrorists and hoodlums in northeast and northwest. But at the end of the day, look at the results. Where are our Tucano jets? Where are all those things that we buy money to put? At the end of the day, you find out that they are being diverted to the wrong places. It's just a wake-up call. The president, all the security apparatus, national security, and funny enough, if you look at it, almost all of them are from same region. Minister for Defense, Minister of State for Defense, all from the north. The National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff. So I don't know how this thing works. You have this level of insecurity in your region, and you have the opportunity to change things, and this is what we have. To me, it's a very, very sad news, and I think the government should take this seriously and look at it.
Now, if you're saying the government should take this seriously and look at it, at the time, as I yesterday they said they've actually deployed their satellites, or they're actually planning to deploy satellites, and we are having this issue come up today where security agents are known to be supplying arms. Who is to be held responsible, and who should answer the question?
I said we are coming like 20 years too late. Countries have used satellites. Do you follow the Israel-Palestine? Do you see the ease with which Israel takes out whoever they think is a leader? I don't have a horse in that race. But you see, you will see technology at play. And when you now drive it home, you begin to wonder, are we living in the same world? Why is it so difficult for you guys to deal with this situation since over several years? And you look at some other countries that with great precision, that is what intelligence gathering does for you. That is what you call state security. But in Nigeria, it's just a title, it's just a position. You find out that what they've been doing 10, 15, 20 years ago is even the satellites we are going to launch, does it belong to us? Is it that China is helping us to launch or something? Then all your security information is in the hands of a foreign country. So I feel in that particular security space, we have not done enough. And like some people will say, they feel the president is less concerned about security. All he is concerned about is maybe economy. When it comes to security, is nowhere to be found. And I won't blame them, because more of these things, we see them happen everywhere, unabated. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not a positive for the government when it comes to security for now.
Very true. All right, so let's move on to the next daily we have here, and it's coming from the Vanguard newspaper. And we have the big story here: federal government reforms are not working. Bauchi governor counters World Bank. Okay,
moving on the top strip of the Vanguard newspaper. NGE Imo government, UNICEF engaged editors on Southeast South challenges. Details are on page 24.
Yes, and also we have hardship fueling voter apathy. Political parties won.
I still remain on the top strip. Politically motivated court judgments threaten our democracy. That is coming from Jonathan.
All right, and also we have on the bottom strip here, federal government inaugurates a panel to toll Abuja, Kefi, Akwanga, Makodi Road.
Okay, moving on. Let's get into this story. The federal government reforms not working. Bauchi governor counters World Bank, because the World Bank came out to say if the president should actually hold back on his word on some of the reforms he has actually stated, that it's going to bring gloom for Nigeria and it's going to be really chaotic.
You see, theoretically, the World Bank is right. Theoretically, just like I said.
It's right about what exactly?
About saying get out of subsidy. Get out of your managing the exchange rates. Let the forces of demand and supply, because whether you like it or not, you cannot have a Dangote, a private refinery, running 650,000 barrels per day, and you still think you want to do subsidy. It's a lie, because that means you are going against that man's business, in the sense that you cannot subsidize petrol import and subsidize, and you expect him to break even.
So yes, I just we should have one man against you.
Just hold on. You see, the best you can do is what the government is trying to do. That okay, let's give you crude, refine, then sell to us at a cheaper price. When it comes to the FX, the government knows that we only rely on crude oil, and a larger percentage of the crude we produce today has already been mortgaged. So we produce and give the people we are owing. The few one we sell to get money, the money is not enough for the domestic demand that we have. 60% of the FX demand in this country is still imported petroleum products. That is why you need to support that man, so that FX does not leave your country. In fact, he will sell to others and bring in FX. You could hear the CBN governor yesterday saying that this dollar price is even helping, is of benefit to some Nigerians if you can export. I understand what he's saying. You see, all these ones are textbook theory. In economics, we will tell you ceteris paribus, other things being equal. But are other things equal in Nigeria? No. That is why I said theoretically. But in practical sense, you run a country of over 100 million people living below poverty line. The only benefit they get is this subsidy.
Exactly.
The only time they feel the government is when they go to the pump price and they are able to buy at a price. Salaries are becoming very unbelievable. The exchange rate is high up there. So how do you cut in between the two? I think that is what Balala Mohammed is saying, that whatever you guys are saying has not put food on the table of Nigerians. We have moved from rice at 35,000 to over 120,000. And you are still saying this man should continue in this line for 15 years. I understand both arguments. But you see, the government needs to tell itself the truth. Is this the right time to do everything at the same? Because I just think the government, you see, for me, it's triplets of a policy. The oil subsidy removal, the exchange rate, and the increase in energy bill. All these bandits, they have done a lot of damage to industries, closing even schools, hospitals, saying we can no longer pay this electricity bill. It's either we increase student school fees, some companies will just close down. How can you move from hospitals that are doing life-saving services, moving bill from 5 million to about 20 million a month? How? So what will be the cost of a surgery? So I understand all these things. So what I feel is that the government needs to come in and try, my own thinking, manage this exchange rate. The exchange rate is what is driving fuel price. The exchange rate is what is driving food. The exchange rate is what is driving a whole lot of things in this country. At least if you can go back on fuel subsidy, agreed. Like the barrister had said earlier, we need to allow more people to play in the refining sector. Allow the private sector to run. But when it comes to FX, even China, they did not suddenly allow floating exchange until they had that exporting power, until it became a production economy. But we are not yet there. We can't take everything at the same time. So the government is rushing everything at the same time. That is the problem. You are choking the system.
So do you think Bola Ahmed Tinubu has he has the best team? Because of course we all look at him as the cause of our problem. Nigerians call him, they've nicknamed him T-Pain. Okay, Tinubu Pain. So do you think his team are good enough to do what they are supposed to do?
Okay, let me ask you some few questions. Yeah. Who is the Minister for Transport?
I do not know. I can't.
Okay, from the top of your head, do you know the Minister for Defense?
No.
Communication?
No.
Agric?
No.
Education?
No.
So if you, as informed as you are daily, you come to us and tell us what Nigeria is daily, cannot even remember these names, that means that thing has problem. It's either they are not working or they are working at cross purpose. To be sincere to you, I will say it with everything I have. 90% of the team of these current ministers are political ministers. They have no business running Nigeria. Their value, as far as I'm concerned, is close to zero.
So we should blame it on Tinubu, of course, who has allowed them there.
He said it himself. I asked for the job. The box stopped on my desk. Blame me if anything happens. The president said it. So it's not about the minister, it's about him. And he has said, I will change this portfolio. I will change these ministers. In fact, one story said the reason why he traveled to UK was because he was being disturbed. People were moving and don't change this one, don't move this one. He decided to get out of this place. I will do my thing. He will just send the list and they will announce it. But up till now, we haven't seen anything. So, and for me, it's also not about the people you put there. What is the policy? Because if you put me somewhere and you have told and you put my hand behind and chain it, that is how it goes. So what will I do? So as far as I'm concerned, the government should at least listen to the people. It is not as if we do not know. So you see, theoretically, where they are going is where economies in the world have passed through before. I could remember, is it Indonesia or Singapore, when they were going to have their rice revolution, they used to import rice, and the president then saw that, look at the figure every month that leaves this country for rice importation, whereas we have our own Ofada rice. People said, no, Ofada rice has stone, he has brown, it's brown, he have our children. The president said, no, you see this rice, we will continue to eat it until we get it right. The man stuck to his guns, and before you know it, it was Indonesia. They became the largest exporter of rice. In fact, there was a time Buhari banned rice. Their minister for had to come to Nigeria. Remember the case? Oga, don't ban this rice. We are producing, we have excess capacity, do except you want you to. Malaysia took palm from Nigeria. You know the stories.
Very true.
You know the stories. So the problem is the government is trying to do everything that is. You cannot. You cannot. For Nigerians, we cannot. We don't have the capacity to take it. If we had a multifaceted or multi-income generating revenue, whereby you still have your cocoa from the southwest, you still have coal from Enugu, you still have groundnut from the north, you still have all those things where everybody is using to. But if it is just the same oil, that if anything happens now, for example, everybody is afraid. Israel is fighting Iran. Whether Israel will bomb oil installations or not, once the price of crude goes up, it affects the price of PMS. Yeah. So everything is interwoven. So the government should take things one at a time. One at a time. You can't put everything together.
Of course, very well true. When we talk about changing our value system, it starts from our leaders themselves. When we say think Nigeria, eat Nigeria, do Nigeria,
We're Nigeria.
We're Nigeria. How is it possible when our Nigerian president is not eating and drinking Nigeria and not vacating in Nigeria?
Sure.
Very true. But then before we let you go, sir, I want to take you on this. Yes,
That's borders on rights. Anybody can vacation anywhere.
Yeah, but not the OO one. Not certainly not the OO one.
No, you see, it's just like when people tell me that why do you allow their children to go to school abroad? Because you can't say because I'm a public officer I can't send my school abroad. I may be rich. The child might win a scholarship. My wife might be doing business and is rich and say my child will go to school abroad. So you cannot, you see, there are some things that are basically fundamental. Like Buhari said, I've had my doctors since I was military head of state. They live in London. You can't force me to stay here. So when I'm sick, I go to them. You see, for me, I just prefer, rather than all those emotions, give people good standard of living here. Food, clothing, shelter, health, education, security, and environment. It's paramount. If you fail in that one, you fail everywhere.
Very true. Very true. And just to add to that, I still wonder why these people, they have the opportunity of traveling out of the country. They see how things work in other parts of the country.
I still come back and do
come back home and still don't do anything. Well, that's so very unfortunate. Thank you so very much, sir. We truly do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Yes. All right. When we return, many injured in Edo as CNG vehicle explodes. Guess the question now is, are CNG vehicles the answer? That's in the beat. Please don't go anywhere. Still Enterprise TV.
Thank you.